Consistently every year we have to deal with apple, pear trees, crab apples, flowering pears, a lot of different trees that we have a lot of here in the valley with fire blight. And fire blight is a bacterial disease that once it gets into those trees, it can do a lot of damage. And so the best way to really control fire blight is to prevent it before your trees even get it, because once it gets in there and it starts to kill those branches from the tips all the way back, it enters in through the blossoms, it'll start to work its way back through the tree. It'll just start to kill entire branches out. Best way to really stop that from happening is to prevent it in the first place. And there's a couple different ways to do that. Before the trees even start to bloom during the dormant season, but when things really start to warm up, that's when we want to put garden Phos on our tree. So if we've had problems, like say you've had problems in your orchard and you really want to get that under control, garden Phos is a product that we can apply right to the trunk. It absorbs it in through the trunk, spreads it through the circulatory system of the tree, and it will actually prevent fire blight from spreading through the tree, even if the tree has been infected. So this is curative as well as preventative, and you can spray it on as well when the tree's in bloom. You can spray it on the branches, it'll absorb it in, but we can also apply it right to the trunk during the dormant season to prevent that damage from occurring in the first place. The other option would be to use a product like this fire blight spray from Fertilome, or a copper-based fungicide as well too, which is antibacterial, and we would spray that while the tree's in bloom. So really what happens is a fire blight, once it's into the trees in the spring, there's little cankers that pop open and sap oozes out. That sap has the fire blight bacteria in it. So this is coming from trees that have already been infected. And so when it rains, it splashes water, the raindrops hit, splash water, it splashes that bacteria around. And between wind and rain and the bees moving that bacteria around, that's how your trees get infected. So spraying your trees while they're in bloom with a streptomycin sulfate, which is what's in the fire blight spray, or with the basic copper, can prevent that from happening. So it's critical that we spray right before and or right after rainstorms during the bloom season to try and prevent that from happening. So whether you're using fire blight spray to prevent while they're in bloom, or the garden Phos as a preventative during the dormant season, or also again while they're in bloom, we can try and get that fire blight under control so we don't have any problems during the growing season in your orchard.